Your journey can only begin when the self-doubts stop. The first step is harnessing your bravery within. Believing in you is your host, Sean Williams.
Hello and good day to you all. My name is Sean, and I'd like to thank you for tuning into another weight loss episode of Bravery Within. Today's a special episode. I have actually been looking forward to this episode for since I started 5 months ago. Today, I get the pleasure of having my son on board, and you've heard me talk a lot about him in other podcasts and stuff there. And one thing that I always wanted to do was get him on board here and basically talk about all the stuff that we do. So, episode 27 is labeled The Spice of Life. And I thought it was a great way to basically introduce my son. He is also my manager. And he keeps an eye on everything there. He helps me out with so much stuff. And he was the one that actually got me started in the podcast. So I actually owe him quite a bit of stuff there just to get through all this here. So, well, I'm hoping that today, that since we're leading out, you are probably not hungry listening to the podcast. But when you're done, you're going to be hungry at that point. Today's all about seasonings, and I thought it was fantastic to talk about because we've talked about, the weight loss journey. We've talked about what to drink and sleep and, the whole mind thing that everybody goes through. And there's so much that's always going on when you're going through weight loss. We all know that it's tough to do, and most of the time when you end up trying to lose weight, you end up doing it on your own. So that's why I'm hoping with these podcasts that everything is going to try to help you out a little bit, try to be there for you a little bit more. And so today, Alex is actually going to be my third person that's going to be on the podcast. And I'm really, really excited about having him on the podcast. Because everything we're going to talk about today, folks, it's all going to be about food. Not going to tell you any other way. So you're probably going to be really, really hungry. And as I lay out the episode before I bring on Alex here, you should see the table. We've got spices all over the place. I wanted to make sure that I didn't mess any of the names up. And, some of them are, we get them from Cabela's, which is really, really neat. They have tons and tons of seasonings. We're always looking around, trying to find new places to find seasonings, marinades. And it's a lot there because one thing that I learned right away, and as much as this hurts to say, and my son is going to grin all day long with me saying this one here, is my biggest thing is my fanciest seasoning back before I got started was pepper. It's still my favorite, and I use pepper for everything. And he would get so mad at me. He just said, "Get out of the kitchen," and I'll take care of it. And he does. He does a wonderful job on. He goes through and he doesn't mind doing the marinades, and he doesn't mind putting the rubs on and everything else. And me, it's just like throw it on the grill. 5 minutes later, I'm eating, and I know I drive people nuts when I do that. But you know what? Hey, it works. And so what I thought would be really neat was basically to bring a different perspective to the podcast. And that's what I think Alex is going to bring today here, because he's going to talk about several different things. We've got some questions and stuff there that we're going to talk about. And what I'm hoping for is after this episode comes out and you guys hear about it, what I'm hoping for is you guys will jump onto the Facebook page and start putting some of your own recipes, some of your ideas, some of the things that you're learning. What we're trying to do is, I'll do my very best to take some pictures of the seasonings that we're talking about, so that way when you go to the store to go get them, you can get the same ones, because the seasonings that we have here, we use all the time. And he sneaks them in there even when, I don't even know that he's putting them in there. He does so good, especially when we do like the smash burgers. Holy smokes. Man, those are good. I mean, we use Italian-style breadcrumbs. I mean, we put those in there to basically hold it together, but it doesn't really add anything for calories. I mean, there's a few in there. I mean, we have to be careful with it. But for the most part, if you're real careful with the seasonings, they can kind of help make up for the ranch, the mayonnaise, all that other stuff there that we're so used to having on our sandwiches and we're so used to having as a part of our life. And when I started my weight loss journey 20 months ago, that's one of the few things I had to really quickly give up was and I make a lot of fun of it. I said, if you were to ever cut open my arm, I said, you could do the left arm and sweet and sour sauce would run out. If you do the right arm, Mountain Dew would run out. And that's kind of how I am. And ranch dressing definitely would be factored in there somewhere as well. But what I learned was, and he taught me real quick, that all of those are just loaded in fat, they're loaded in calories, and we have to be really, really careful with them, because when you're counting calories as close as I am and you're cutting every corner possible, it doesn't take long for those calories to get out of control. And if you're going to lose basically control any place, it's going to be in your condiments. That's the first thing that I learned right away. It was kind of like, holy cow, where did this come from? I mean, why am I all of a sudden 200-300 calories over? Well, when you start factoring in all your sides and everything else, it just blows up so fast, and you can actually shoot yourself in the foot. And it's like, okay, well, I just put a bunch of ranch dressing on my fries or whatever I was having at the time. Well, there's 300-400 calories right there. Well, 300-400 calories to me, that's a whole meal. And to lose that by just putting some sides in there just got to be way too much. So what I had to learn was, with the thanks of Alex, is I had to start, this hurts to say, I had to start working in seasonings. and he's sitting there grinning. I wish you could see his grin, because he knows he's won this battle. Because I swore that, I don't need that, no big deal. Well, 20 months into this, you have to start looking, for ways of getting a little more inventive, without taking up too much time, because let's be honest. I mean, I work a 40-hour-a-week job. Alex works 50 to 60 hours a week. It makes it very difficult. We know you guys out there, you're working a ton as well. It's very, very difficult to try to eat well, come home and cook after you've worked 10, 12 hours in a day. It makes it very difficult. And then on top of it all, you got to clean up, and you got to go to the store and get the food anyway. But like I've said many, many times, I actually eat better now than I ever did before I started my weight loss journey. The foods that we're getting are so much better. We watch for sales. There's no doubt about it. Him and I are constantly scouring for sales, trying to watch and see, okay, can we pick up pork chops cheaper, or steak cheaper, or chicken cheaper, or anything like that, because in this day and age, we all know it is horribly expensive to eat well. And just to get the better food, you have to do that when you're on your weight loss journey. And it makes it very, very difficult. So it takes both of us to constantly look and constantly watch for sales. So one thing that we do is sometimes you can cut a little bit of a corner and not buy the top of the line meat, because you can change that up with seasonings. And we've got, when I started out on this 20, like I told you all, I just Thelma and Louised it off the cliff. I think I shocked everybody when I said, I'm done. I am now officially on a weight loss journey. I am going to lose over 300 pounds, and I'm not looking back. And I'll never forget, everybody's face just pretty much just was stunned. It was like, seriously? It's like, seriously, I'm doing this. And I wish, as I've said in many other podcasts, I wish I would have done more research. I wish I would have basically checked into a few more things and prepped a little bit better, because I think, Alex, the day that, because I jumped off January 1st, 2022, I dove off the cliff. And I think I went through the kitchen and cleaned everything out. And I think he looked at me and he thought, are we moving? And it was like, no, we're not moving, but I'm moving, all this fat off of me. That's about as close as I could get on that one. And it took a little bit of, I had to flat out admit, okay, I screwed up. Yes, you're right. Bow down to the spice master over there. And I had to finally admit, we have to look for different ways, because I can't keep going the way I'm going. I want to be here for them. I want to be able to be here for the rest of my family. And I can't do that by carrying around an extra 300 and some pounds on my frame. So I had to find different ways of doing it. So by doing that, this is another way. And I'll be honest, I was very closed-minded to it in the beginning. I was not open to the whole thought of spices, seasonings. It's just me. I'm just a country boy in the middle of podunk. And like I said, pepper was my favorite seasoning. That's all I ever used. And it's like, okay. And then I've got, Mr. Hawaii over here that loves all kinds of different flavors and seasonings and stuff there. So we had an impasse. I'm not going to lie, for about the first 6 months. I fought him tooth and nail all the way. And I thought he probably just thought, you know what, at some point it's kind of like a buck and bronco. You just got to let them wear themselves out, and then they'll come around. Well, unfortunately, in this case, he was right. I finally did come around. So we have all kinds of different seasonings here to try to help you a little bit. I wanted to take this episode and basically tell you, okay, this is how we're doing it. Everything that we're going to talk about today is stuff that we do. This is tried and true. This is honest to God. These are seasonings, these are marinades, these are anything there basically that I'm doing right now and he's helping me out with. Basically it comes down to this is what we do. We've tried, true, and trusted this. So if you're wondering, does this actually work or does it actually taste good? It does. So like when I'm talking about, Cabela's mesquite chipotle seasoning that we use for, I think we use that in hamburger and I think we use that on pork and stuff. And it gives it a better flavor because if you can flavor the food prior to that, it's going to be a little bit better. And on the back, I'm looking at right now the calorie content, the nutrition facts on the can container, and it says 0 calories per quarter teaspoon. So you can go crazy with it. Sodium's even low, 75 milligrams. I mean, that's one thing that I worry about too, is the salt content of everything, because you can really get, over your head with these seasonings. So when we're going through and looking for them, we're trying to be really, really careful with the salt content. So hopefully something in this episode will kind of help you a little bit and stuff with the seasonings and stuff. And that's what I want Alex to talk to you about is he's much better at this. He loves being in the kitchen. I used to, and I'm not a fan of it anymore. I'm not that big on cooking. So would I have made it this far? I think I would have. It would have been this easy? Oh, heck no. It would have been lots of cheesy brats, which still are, don't get me wrong, lots of Mountain Dew, which I know is you're not supposed to have there when you're on a weight loss journey, but there's just some sacrifices that, I'm not going to make. I got to have my Mountain Dew. But after basically getting all this figured out and ready to go, we actually have 2 cupboards full of seasonings now. I had one little area for pepper. That was it. I didn't need a lot of room. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I had a canister in the cupboard and a little shaker on the table, and that was all I ever used. So now we have 2 cupboards full of spices. And just like this morning when I went and picked up some more groceries and stuff, I picked up more seasonings. It's kind of, I don't know if I'm going to like it or not, but hey, gotta try it and stuff. I said, worst comes to worst, I guess we don't like it, we can mothball it, and maybe we can find it and put it in meatloaf or something, or something down the road there. We'll find a way to use it, or he'll use it on his stuff where he might like it or whatever. But we have 2 cupboards full. We have a whole fridge full of seasonings now, and I'm learning, and I go online. Like I said, I try to do a lot of research prior to doing a podcast to make sure that everything that I'm telling you guys out there is on the nose. Now, am I perfect? No. And like I said many times, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not anybody smart. I don't have a piece of paper hanging on the wall saying I did 4 years of school and now I'm smart and I know what I'm talking about. This is all done school of hard knocks. We're learning the hard way. Alex does research. I do research, trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way of going about this? And this is the best way that we've been able to find so far, because not only has it helped me take off over 200 pounds, it's helped him as well, which is really, really cool. So by eating better and having better foods, we're actually doing better. And I know that sounds kind of like, duh, Sean. I mean, everybody's going to say that there, but it's so easy. I'll be honest, in our busy world anymore, it's so easy to stop by someplace, go through a drive-through and pick something up, because it gets so old, basically working, coming home, cooking, sleep, back to work. It gets old. Everybody's tired. It just gets to be too much. So thank goodness I have him to help me through all of this stuff, because I mean, if I had to do this on my own, it would not be this fancy. Like I said, it'd be a lot of probably eggs, cheesy brats, and hamburgers. That would probably be the highlight of everything that I ate. But every time I turn around, he's even got me into fish now. And I swore that I would never, ever, ever eat fish. And now he's making it, and I'm eating it. It's not my first choice, but I gotta say, the way he makes it sometimes, it actually is really, really good. I hate to say that, but so he's won a lot of battles through this whole thing, and he's opened my mind. There's no doubt about it there. So what I would like to do now that I've kind of laid out the whole episode and what we're going to talk about, what I would like to do is I'm going to bring Alex on now. He's been listening the whole time and, giving me that look of, yeah, okay, yep, I won this. Yep, you admitted it on the air. Now you're recorded, so you can't get out of it. So he's winning the battle there. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my manager and my son, Alex.
Hi, nice to meet you, Sean. Just wanted to step in. Thank you for having me on your show. It's great to be here.
I have been looking forward to this, getting you on the show for quite a while, and I'm hoping everybody out there that's listening is going to enjoy this show because there's no doubt about it. You know what you're doing with the seasonings. You've proven that. Time and time again, every time I turn around, Sunday afternoons, you're just living in the kitchen, making things, and that stuff leads into what I eat throughout the week. So, you've made my weight loss journey easier, without hands down, no doubt about that one there. And just basically trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. There's times where you'll bring something home, and I'll look and I go, ew, that doesn't sound good. And then I eat it, and guess what? It's good, and it drives me nuts. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about some of the seasonings that are your favorites, and we'll kind of take off from there. And I know you like marinades. We can talk about marinades if you want to. I'm just going to kind of leave the run of the show from here pretty much on your shoulders. Where do you want to start?
I would say more like let's start not just with the seasonings, but for a lot of people, I'd say start with more the understanding of it, So being the country, out in the woods kind of guy you always said more times than not, pepper's everything. And that can work very well because there's a lot of, I know a lot of people down south would speak about this. If you have a great steak and it's cooked correctly, you just need salt, pepper, and garlic, or just salt and pepper, and you don't need any other seasonings. The goal of that is to do that with all of your food. That's the big goal here, You can sit here every day and go, well, I love my salt, pepper, and garlic, but let's be real here. Just like when you're doing weight loss, chicken, broccoli, and rice. Let's be frank. It's really dry. It's not fun.
You don't eat so much of it.
Exactly. I mean, cheesy brats at least you can enjoy because they have flavor.
True.
Chicken, broccoli, and rice is hold on, let me throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. Stuff like that is where you're looking at for seasonings to come in, because we all know ranch has got 200 300 calories per tablespoon. You have mayo is obviously not nice to us, even though I love mayo a lot. That's the hard part.
I know.
Ketchup is another thing. The big thing is learning to utilize seasoning so you don't have to use as much of the ranch, mayo, and all that stuff, because it's not bad to always have those. Having those added in as like a little treat can keep you really focused in your mind for doing a lot of this.
True, and help keep the cravings down.
Exactly.
when you're dying for that little bit of just flavor. That can really go a long ways.
Right. And you just need something. Your body's just craving to the point where it's like, okay, fine, we'll do a cheese stick with mozzarella sauce or something, or ranch or mayo. I don't know if someone does it with mayo. I'd be a little scared, but hey, I can't say anything. But
well, people eat French fries with mayonnaise, so I guess
I do that. Yeah, I can't.
I know. That's why I brought it up.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, French fries is one thing. Eating a cheese stick, that's a different thing.
Yeah, that's true. Don't be ruining cheese sticks. Yeah. Don't ruin cheese sticks out there.
Yeah, if you do, at least send me the link to it so I can try it before we say it's ruined. Anyway, but the biggest thing I would have to say for like seasoning wise, I'm a huge garlic fan. Love garlic, and it can be cloves, it can be the cool little packages, it can be just the shakers that we use. I think garlic brings a lot to the table for a lot of what we're looking for, especially with flavoring.
Yeah.
It gives it that punch that everybody's looking for. It keeps it on the table. It doesn't take up a lot of room in your calories. That's the huge thing there for that one. Another thing is, and I know a lot of people don't think about it a lot, paprika. Paprika is a huge difference and a big game changer in not only just on seasonings, but you combine it with cream or sour cream, you can make a different dip. So that way, because sour cream, if you get the light one, it's only 35 calories a tablespoon. You combine that with paprika that has nothing, combine that with garlic that has nothing. You have a dip that you can have without killing yourself in the long run. So key for the holidays if you're looking for that.
Yeah, so they're coming up too.
Yeah,
we're starting to look for, I know it's only August, but we're still gaining on that whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a new dip that Shelly brought over for us and stuff there, and she used cottage cheese and just ranch powder, if I
right,
remember
ranch powder,
it.
yeah.
And don't tell her I said this, but yeah, it was actually pretty good.
Why would I ever say that? Gosh.
It's like, yeah. But it was great with the steak and stuff that I had, because I would use it as the dipping sauce and stuff there, and you didn't really add any calories, which was great, but you got to add flavor. And when you're having lunch, I have a 30-minute lunch break. You don't get a lot of time there to really do much, so to be able to just have everything ready, dip into the dip, and away you go. It's amazing, because you can really stick to your weight loss journey a lot easier when you have different flavors to work with.
Exactly. And that's a huge thing, is figuring out what we got to go with for busy schedules. There's a lot of people out there that are busy with children, games to get to, stuff like that. So you're always looking for a way to keep things healthy, but, budget's a budget. We can't go over it. We just try to stay underneath or at it. So there's a lot of those things you look at going into this, weight loss, and everybody goes, well, yeah, I can do this, but when you don't take the time to realize what you're going into, it can get hairy really quick.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't recommend anybody doing like I did and Thelma and Louise it off the cliff.
Right.
I chose the hardest way possible, but it was the only way that I could get started was, I just have to do this, because if I thought just dip my toe into it, I wasn't able to. Now I know I've had other people that have gotten hold of me and they've done it that way. They only go at half power like what I'm doing, but within a couple weeks, they're up to where I am, and they're off and running. They just needed a little bit to get going, and that's kind of what you did with the seasonings too. Was you started a little bit, started easing me into them, and we just got to be more and more. And yeah, I hate to admit it, panko crumbs. Now we use those on our pork chops. Those turn out really, really good.
Get a nice good crust on them, put a little bit of cheese in mixed with it, solidifies that crust really well, especially on the black top, or even on a grill you can do it on, as long as you get the oil on the bars before you get there. You can do it on the grill. It's just depends on what you're looking for. The biggest thing is, like I tell a lot of people, is how many people go and do for tacos. We always get the packets. A lot of people get the dry powder packets instead of getting like the sauces that we get.
Right.
Biggest thing you can look there too is we have one here for Mystique Chipotle. You can actually sub that in as taco meat and you wouldn't know the difference.
Oh, wow.
And that is actually a huge thing, because it's basically taco seasoning is just like kind of like a Chipotle Southwestern feel of seasonings. So, obviously it's not perfect. Nothing's ever perfect, but that's the cool thing about when you work in the kitchen, and one of the reasons why it's always fun is you get to experiment.
True.
If you look at it, because those packets of taco seasoning, they usually have 2,000-3,000 milligrams of salt alone.
So loaded.
So if you're trying to watch the sodium content, you better drink a gallon of water and make sure your kidneys are still rolling.
Yeah.
That's stuff you have to look at every day. And for tacos, you don't want to do that, and you don't want to hurt your kids. You don't want to hurt everybody around you.
Right.
But you still want to enjoy what tacos are.
Right. You can't really turn those down, or burritos, or we make chimichangas, and those turn out really, really well. It's just like, they're just some things you just don't want to give up, but you have to find new ways of reinventing the wheel, essentially, so that way you can still enjoy.
Exactly, and that's all it is this world is just about reinventing the wheel. There's a lot of people that say, dietitians, all these guys they're PhDs, they understand everything, and you're right, they are. But you have to remember one thing. Chefs are just as skilled as dietitians.
That's
Chefs
true.
know exactly how these things work. They understand how the flavor combinations work. You can look at even Gordon Ramsay. He's changed his own life in the last couple years of going from being a hardcore UK cooking kind of guy to, more of a vegetarian style, more into a vegan style. There's so many things you can do, and reinventing the wheel, being a chef, makes it fun for them. That's why they cook. That's why they have so many cookbooks, is because they're always reinventing something. They're taking what they have and they ask themselves, can they make it better? Same thing for us here. Yeah, you can go out and buy these cookbooks and all this stuff, and they will help you. There's no denying that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But you always have to look at it as, okay, do I have time to do it? Do I have the thousands of seasonings they do? Is it as fresh as what they got? It's never going to be the exact same. So the biggest thing I tell people is, remember, when you look at these recipes, they're always subject to change. You can always add things and you can always change things. Fried rice has about 35 different varieties just alone in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real here. Not one person does it the same.
True. And the noodles that you made, that I had no idea how you were going to pull this all together. Starting out with ramen noodles, lightly cooking them and then throwing them on the Blackstone. And it is like, okay, you're going to burn them, and then you end up working in, which, I think we ended up using Alfredo sauce in the beginning one. And I'm actually looking forward to the teriyaki one that you're making. And it was just like, that's incredible. And I mean, yeah, the Alfredo sauce was a little heavy, but really when you consider what little is on each noodle, it wasn't enough really to kind of offset too much. I mean, I still overbuilt for calories, but it was crazy how it was like 3 minutes on the blacktop, and it was like, okay, the Blackstone has changed everything that we do. I mean, that flat top grill is incredible. I mean, thank you, Ace Hardware, for selling it.
right? And if you ever get a chance for Blackstone, man, I'm serious. Go get it. Even if it's a small one, if you're living in an apartment, you got a little bit of an area to work on it, go get one. They save you so much time. I know down south they swear by them because of how hot it gets. I mean, obviously, down south they had record 115-degree days for 31 days straight. I think I would melt at some point.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here. So you look at stuff like that. You're looking for ways to not heat up your house. You got to cut every corner. So the Blackstone has helped us a lot. I mean, in terms of keeping the area cool. Plus, we get to, make Shelly really mad and make a lot of the good food, and then she says she needs one, and things happen, but that's up to her for her to get those.
Well, Chris was on the electrified exercise episode. So he's the one that talked. He now has a griddle at home. I don't know if it's a Blackstone or not. I think so, but he's got a flat top griddle that he uses, and he didn't have one before until we got one. So it's amazing because they're so flexible. I mean, we made breakfast this morning, and you were out there flipping stuff around. Here I am over my old antique grill making my cheesy brats and everything else there. But here you are looking like a 4-star chef flipping stuff around. It's so much fun. It's amazing what those things can do.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at the fact that you can be a hibachi chef if you feel like it. I mean, it has that kind of enjoyment you get out of it, that thrill of, oh my gosh, it's not taking long. It makes veggies even taste better. I mean, you're sauteing at a level that, where you were in a pan, you had 3 or 4 pans going, well, then you knew you had to run the dishwasher, you had a lot to clean up afterwards. So making those kind of meals is hard. But on the Blackstone, it didn't take long for us. All I had to do was run a scraper across, clean it off, we were ready for the next run.
And just for the record, we all know I don't like vegetables, so they don't get used on the Blackstone much. I just want that clarified right now.
Yeah, that's what he says too, and the sky's green and the ground is black. But we'll let him go and think, and we'll leave him to be in his own devices.
I don't need that Blackstone ruined with mushrooms.
Well, you better talk to the other one here that wants those veggies, so I don't get in trouble. A big thing though is, and this is one thing Sean brought up right away in the beginning, was diversifying, finding different meats, to find different stuff. The biggest thing on that is try to do everything you can to diversify your meat. So you can always eat your chicken, broccoli, and rice, or steak and eggs and stuff like that, but there's always a way to diversify more. Looking for different types of sausages, looking for different types of fish. Fish is a huge thing, I swear by. Fish is, I've loved fish since I was everything. I mean, I eat sushi. Let's be real here. I just heard a lot of you just go, ugh. Really?
That's including me. Ew.
Yeah, he's over there all crying because it's, fish. Oh, no.
Yuck.
But, that's the thing. You have shrimp, you have scallops, you have all these different things that don't take long, but they have amino acids that your body needs, omega-3s that your eyes need. Yes, I just got glasses, don't laugh. But, you have to look at stuff like that. Fish is another huge product that you can do, and it doesn't take long. It's really fast. I mean, everybody, when they associate fish, they instantly think salmon.
True.
And a lot of people don't like salmon. Salmon is a very particular kind of fish. I mean, you either love it or hate it. There's no getting around it. But the huge thing with that is you have halibut, you have tilapia, you have cod. These things don't take, a lot of your white fish do not take long on the griddle, don't take long in the pans. They warm up really nice. They're not hard to work with, and really the only thing you need with a lot of those fish is lemon pepper seasoning or just lemons. So realistically, it doesn't take long to make this. So I mean, any type of fish, you want to make a fish sandwich or you want to make scallops or anything like that, it doesn't take long, but you get a lot of lean protein out of it, and you don't gain a lot of calories. So that's the nice thing about fish. Fish can be a very versatile way of thinking, a very versatile main course that a lot of people, when you don't have a lot of time,
True.
A lot of people think that, fish is those Friday night, gotta put on for the in-laws. Let's be real here. Nobody wants the in-laws coming over. But, so you don't cook the fish. But you have to look at those standpoints as fish is a huge product in your body that your body really does need. I mean, those omega-3s help your body keep going. It helps start shedding fat. You feel more full. So using fish when you get sick of your chicken and your pork and your steak, should some people ever get that, I don't know if they do, but hey, everybody's different.
Oh yeah.
You can look at it that way. Seasonings are also really good for veggies, especially grilled veggies, grilled onions when you saute. Those are huge too. I mean, as much as Sean doesn't like them, they do turn out really well when they do cook them.
That's
up.
one of the very few I will allow onto the Blackstone and into the house is grilled onions. Those aren't too bad. Okay, I'll give him that one. Right. See, he wins another battle again.
And the big thing is teriyaki sauce. A lot of people shy away from that because it's loaded in salt and then loaded in sodium, and they think that it's naturally bad. You don't need a lot of teriyaki sauce, ironically, to make everything flavorful. That's the cool thing about teriyaki sauce. And you can find different varieties that are low carb, no sugar. That's a huge thing. It's not always in those big sauces like ranch stuff. Sugar is your biggest killer.
Yeah.
Sugar always, it's replacing everything your starch is, and that's what helps build fat. So that is something, everybody thinks instantly, got to cut sugar. You have to cut your level, but you don't need to cut it out because your body still needs the sugar. That's how you produce your insulin. That's how you produce a lot of your hormones.
Right.
You can't overload it and expect your body to be, oh yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at us with caffeine. There's a lot of people out there that drink 4 or 5 Monsters a day, and I still don't know how their heart doesn't blow up.
Yeah, that is true. I have one sip and I'm done. I can fly to the moon at that point.
Woohoo! I'm bounding the ocean. But that's all stuff you look at, and it's just simple things. You can leave it in. Like a lot of people I've talked to that do meal prep, they do it like on a Sunday. And they start it in the morning. They throw the seasonings on in the morning, let it really marinate with the meat. It makes it 10 times better. The longer you can let it sit, the better off you can be. So if you're looking at, you have a lot of things to do today in the morning. Just putting it on chicken, lemon pepper seasoning or just salt, pepper, and garlic and let it soak in with a little bit of olive oil. Yeah, sure, it takes about 5 minutes and you gotta clean your hands. But once you put it in a Ziploc bag, throw it in the fridge and let it sit for 4 to 8 hours, it's going to come back 10 times better than you ever could, and you're way better off. You're not having to fight as much. It's stuff like that. Crock pots is another thing that a lot of people are using more and more now, finding out about that. And a huge thing that both Sean and I love the most, crab ragoon. Let's be real here. You go to a Chinese restaurant, it's hard to ever turn that down.
Oh man, that's so good.
You look at that going, oh man, I'll never eat that again. There are ways around it. Air fryers is a huge thing. Air fryer can help you with that. Dumplings for a lot of people. They think because of the breading, you're never going to be able to eat them again. That's not true. It's just moderation.
True.
Eating them once a week, giving it a little bit of a chance, How your body feels is a huge thing when you're using these spices, Spices can really throw you up. I know, like, Sean doesn't like chilies, so I don't use a lot of chili powder. Although, chili has some good products for weight loss. Yeah. It just depends on how much you want to eat.
Right. And it bounces up your body heat. If your body heat goes up, you're going to burn more calories because it's trying to keep the heat up there. But yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get to the point of liking chili or chili powder or nothing like that there. But I've been, slowly working in up to Chipotle. And I know there's a lot of people out there that have the ghost peppers and the habaneros and all that. They're not in this lifetime. I don't want my food to hurt me. Flavor's fine, but I don't want it to hurt me. And so, that's why I think gently easing into the seasonings that we have, has made a big difference. And you're right. You prep stuff. It does make a flavor difference. Mm-hmm. No arguments there. And I just don't take the time anymore. I probably should. And I have gotten better. I do prep stuff a little bit more. I do cook things a little bit better. And the easiest way is just, for me, is just seasonings. Mm-hmm. I marinate stuff like our Thanksgiving turkeys and our Christmas turkeys and, anything like that there to get that freshness and get that flavor and get the moisture into it. Makes a huge difference. And, I wouldn't make a turkey, any other way. Butterball turkeys, and then you marinate them with a lemon pepper, seasoning and stuff there, and you just let it sit in there while it cooks. Holy smokes, that is so good.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that as you do things in the kitchen and stuff there, when I'm allowed in the kitchen when you're out here, I'm learning that, you do things a certain way. And it does make a difference on flavor. And it does, the weird part is a lot of people don't like leftovers. And part of this is I don't have time to make it for lunch and stuff there. I mean, if you had an hour, that would be different. I only have a half hour. And I don't want to go to, one of the convenience stores, or I don't want to go to one of the fast food restaurants to pick something up, because then you burn up 2 days worth of calories in one meal, and that's the last thing I want to do. And I know when you rewarm some things, they're just not that great.
Exactly.
No arguments there. I mean, some things just can't be rewarmed. But a lot of the stuff that you make there, since I'm 90% protein, does warm up pretty well. So if we can find different ways of, put flavors in them, or the dipping sauces that we're slowly learning on which ones work, which ones we like, to keep the calories down, that's the best way to do this that I've learned.
And the one thing that I always tell a lot of people, and this one was hard for me to learn myself, is using injections. A lot of people have like a garlic powder injection that's made with oils, and you inject into like half-inch thick pork. That is something, when you start injecting in stuff like that, that's where you keep and retain a lot of your moisture. So like when you go to reheat the second time or whatever for your leftovers, you still have that juiciness the first time. You're not going to have a perfect remembrance of that. But finding ways without having to use your ketchup and stuff is a huge thing.
True.
So when you can do stuff like that, where using an injection where it keeps the meat softer, makes a big difference when it comes back to cooking.
And we learned doing the egg wash on the thick pork chops that we like, and then putting the panko crumbs all around it. As soon as you throw it on the Blackstone, it's like it just sears it instantly and locks in all that moisture. Because even when I'm having, typically we'll make them up on a Sunday, and I'll make enough leftovers to get through Tuesday or Wednesday. Even when you get into that and warm them up, they're still flavorful. They're still full of moisture because they're just seared in so nice. And it's like you're eating them right off the griddle again.
Yeah. And that's a huge thing, is learning differences in how food works. Searing versus, long cooks like the oven. A lot of people give chefs a lot of hayway, because you hear things like reverse sear or oven bake into a pan sear. Well, that's the big thing is like the missus, my other half, my partner, I was actually cooking with her family here a couple of weeks ago, and we made hamburgers. Well, what I did differently was with their charcoal grill is I put heat to one side and then left the other side a little open and left it cooler. So when you put the lid on top, it's still cooked, but it was at a slower rate. And then when you were getting ready for it to be done, when you seared it, that seared and locked in all the juices, it locks everything in, and you get that beautiful charred little bite that everybody likes in a burger.
True.
Everybody thinks, Burger King has the best burgers, but that's, in a way, it's true, because they figured it out how to, get the char marks that people love.
Right.
Smash Burgers is making a huge hit right now because it has one whole side that is seared. That, you can look at Culver's, Five Guys, anybody that makes a smash burger, they have a different way of doing it in different weights, but it still comes out with that nice crunch that everybody loves, and you still get the flavor. And everybody wonders when you're at home and stuff, how do we pull this off?
Right.
And realistically, the funniest thing is, it's not hard, it's just taking a little bit of time and experimentation. That's where a lot of people go, okay, do I have the time to do this? To be real, with a smash burger, it's actually really easy. So, I mean, it's literally, it's in the name. So figuring out how to do that you can do it on if you have a pan, or you could have, a cast iron pan, you can do it on those too if you wanted to. And those are really good for killing cravings with burgers and trying out different types of burgers. That will help with a lot of your seasonings and testing and what you like. Yeah. Hamburger is very forgiving, so having the ability to, buy leaner meat when you can, like 80-20, 85-15, everybody wants the, 90-10, but we're not going to pay $20 for it.
Right.
So, you just learn to moderate with seasonings, and then, keep a level head on you about it. Don't always overeat. Don't try to push yourself thinking, okay, I have this, I can fill my calories. Because one way that was taught to me for calories is you're taking out calories for tomorrow. That's what you're doing. What you're processing today is for tomorrow. So when you start a weight loss journey, your first 2 weeks, you have to remember you're a day ahead. So like a lot of people have payroll. A lot of people get set back a week, so there's always an extra week going into the next pay period. same thing you're doing with your body. You're taking out tomorrow's payload because you've already done today. Your body's processing today. It takes all day to process. But you're taking out for tomorrow because that's when you start seeing the differences is the next day. So when you take 2,500 calories today and then you take 3,000 tomorrow, well, your body's going to be like, okay, why are we fluctuating so much? Why are we not staying consistent? And that will show, and your body will start to go into different areas of burning for your fat. You may start getting to starvation, stuff like that. There's a whole huge thing we can go back on that Sean has already covered. But the biggest thing is you have to remember is you're taking calories out for tomorrow. That's the biggest thing. You're not eating for today to all your calories. You're eating for tomorrow and taking out alone every single time you eat. So your goal is to keep a consistent amount of calories so that way your body knows, okay, now we're steadily burning because we need to keep burning through our week. And another big thing I tell a lot of people, watch your carbs. Carbs is a huge thing, but your carbs are your main energy booster. Yeah. So don't shy from them. You know, eat your breads, but don't eat them excessively. Don't eat the whole loaf. Right. Let's be real here.
It's pretty hard, though. That's why I got to stay away from breads.
Yeah.
Because it's just like once you get started, it's just like, okay, I'm all in and I can't quit. And keeping my carbs limited has made a big difference. But you know, I've known what it's like to bottom out and not have enough energy to get going. You just feel rough and you just don't feel good. So, kind of, you know, talk to everybody about what are some of your favorite spices that you actually, if you didn't, you know, weren't making with me, I mean, some with me, and I know you cook for other people. What are some of the favorite spices that you like to cook with?
I would say a big one is always going to be salt, pepper, and garlic, the three main, basically, food groups of seasoning. But I tend to go with more of a, I like chili powder, I like paprika. Those are two big heavy hitters for me. Because I like a little more heat in my burgers, I like a little more heat in my food, just because it changes up the flavor. I mean, you can eat the same steak every single day, but you always have to find a way to change.
Right.
So, and that spiciness, I don't put enough in to where I look like I'm a dragon trying to blow out fire here, but I put in enough to let me know, ooh, there's something there. Ooh, it's there. But it's just enough to make my body go, what in the world are you eating? And that's something to get it to kick over going, okay, he's trying something different. Now we need to learn on this. And the other thing I would have to say is, and because I'm a huge rice lover, and I have to thank my aunt for this one, is getting the Better Than Bouillon paste, which is basically like a chicken paste or a beef paste that turns, as you put it in the water, it turns to kind of like a beef stock, but it's 10 times stronger without the calories of beef stock. So that is a huge thing for me, because when you make it with the rice and stuff, we all know how plain it gets. We don't want to eat it every single day. It gets rough.
Yep.
But rice itself is a huge carb filler. It is a huge, stomach filler. I mean, it's like spinach. You eat it because, even though you don't want it. But there's some things we have to look at. That I would say is probably my biggest savior in terms of rice, because eating white rice or brown rice it gets old very fast. So finding new ways to get flavor injected into these things is going to save you in the long run.
Yeah.
So any chance you get, I would say if you're looking at rice or even just stews or anything, do the Better Than Bouillon is what it's called. But it's basically bouillon but as a paste. And you can find it in any of your soup aisles. Using that alone has changed and elevated my cooking to where I was even like, oh, okay, I have more to learn. But, let's be real, I'm not a 5-star chef, so I have a lot to learn.
Yeah, and you're still better than I am, so we're not even going to tell you how far I got to learn, too. I'm way behind the curve. I'm not going to lie about that one. But we'll try to put a picture of that as well on the Facebook page. So that way you guys kind of know what to look for when you head into the grocery stores and into your spices and stuff there. But thanks to, there's some ones here like I'm holding now. Cabela's one, it's roasted garlic and beer. We've used this quite often in hamburgers and stuff. I think we've used it on
We've used almost anything we've really had.
It's amazing. I haven't quite figured out how they figure out these seasonings quite so much, but it's really, really good. And some of the marinades that you use are...
I usually make my own kind of marinade, so I put them all together. It's a combination of like lemon juice, oils, and seasonings, really. I mean, there's no getting around it. I throw things together. Garlic's usually always one of them. Ginger's another. olive oil, usually finding a neutral-based oil in general helps. So avocado oil, olive oil, even vegetable oil. Even though I don't recommend vegetable oil, I'd stick to your olive oils and stuff, because it helps with your body more than what vegetable oil will do. So sticking to that will help. But that was a huge thing for me, is learning how to make the marinades, because a lot of places have so much salt, have so much extra calories built into them. Even if you take out the sugar, it still has a lot of calories.
Yeah.
So building your own and learning how they work is a huge difference. And I mean, I don't mean to quote a lot of people, but you can find marinades on social media platforms, even YouTube. One of the guys I follow a lot, I don't know if anybody follows, it's called Binging with Babbage. It takes basically everybody down to the elementary level of cooking, and then he teaches you how to use these spices, where they go, what to do, and he still makes mistakes as well. Yeah. But he shows you how to do these things in your own home. So he's kind of like the Bob Ross of cooking, really. He showed me a lot of how to make these things. That's how I came to learn and do more of this, because I wanted to make the Longhorn Steakhouse steak without having to pay the $60 price.
Right.
I did end up paying, a little bit more on your steak in general, because half cut now today is like $60 anyway, but it's like, oof.
Yeah.
But you're looking at stuff like that, it makes a big difference when you go and source your own meat, learn the seasonings, because then you can make your own marinades, and it makes it so much better.
Yeah. And in going to your local butcher, it has so much benefits. Yes, you do end up paying a little bit more. There's no doubt about that. And like mine, it's a very limited budget. I mean, when you got to pay for electricity, gas, house, vehicle payment, insurance, and everything else, doesn't leave a lot of room for getting the better foods. But one thing that we've learned is we watch close, and when there is a sale, you just have to buy. You may not want to spend the money at the time, but that's why the freezer's full too, is so that way we can go in there and grab something at that time and make it up. Just like, trying to, this afternoon, we'll go in there, figure out something and make it work there. But we have a couple of great local butchers in town here, and they just do phenomenal work. And we have one is the Piedmont Meat Market, and then the other one is your favorite, which is
Dakota Butcher.
Yeah, and they do fantastic. I mean, we get lots of meats, and they don't just have the meats. I mean, they have cheeses. They have they have pre-made stuff. I mean, it's incredible what you want. Yes, you do spend a little bit more, but we do know that they also support the local economy, the local the ranchers, the farmers, and all those guys. Anything there to try to keep them going. Mm-hmm. And when you do, I mean, you get the marbling on the steaks is incredible. So when you throw those puppies on the grill, it's good. Now, can we eat that way all the time? No, we can't afford to do it all the time. But that's one thing that we do. We kind of treat ourselves like on a Sunday is we'll make up a really, really good meal. We make up extra, so then I've got extra throughout the week. So I can stick to my weight loss journey without throwing it out the window, because like I've said in so many other episodes, you have to make the changes you can live with. This isn't something that I can ever go back, because if I fall off of this and start gaining weight again, I don't know if I could ever get back on board again. And if I want to keep the weight off, I have to continue to eat this way. So you have to make the changes you can live with. And luckily, for the first 3-4 months, I was miserable because, I had no calories that I could work with. I needed to get my body moving, and I had to make the changes. I had to detoxify from the carbs, the sugars, the salts, the everything. You have to get your body detoxified, and it was miserable to get through it. I'm not going to lie about it. I don't want to tell anybody anything different, because if somebody would have told me that, it's going to be tough, because most people told me, a week or two, you're fine, you'll move on, you'll be okay. 3 months later, I was still detoxifying because I had 30 years of fat that was built up. It's not going to just come off overnight. Nope. So by doing all of this stuff and then eating better, and I've said it many times, I eat better now than I have at any point in my life, because we're more careful with stuff. Like you got the Himalayan pink salt that you have swapped out for us, where when we do use salt, it's a lower one. It doesn't hit, and it actually has pretty good flavor. But we don't do a lot of salt, but when we do, it's a smarter one. Yeah. And always looking for new ways of basically trying to season things up. I mean, for lack of better words, I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is just finding flavors. Because if you can find the flavors you like and switch them out a little bit, you're going to stick to the weight loss journey a lot easier, because it's not the same old, same old. It's not, this isn't a diet where you starve yourself, where you cut yourself off literally from everything. This is a weight loss journey where you have to figure out a happy medium. Okay, I need to eat this way. I can only take this many in for calories. Okay, now how am I going to make it work? Where can I give? Because like I said, I'm not giving my Mountain Dew up. That's never going to happen. You guys better bury me with a 12-pack of Mountain Dew. That's all I know. So when I head over to the other side, I got a Mountain Dew in my hand, because that's where I'm going to be happy. But so if I know that I'm going to drink a Mountain Dew, I have to cut from other areas. And to cut from other areas was cutting out the ketchups, the mustard, the mayonnaise, the ranch, all those extra sides that were so heavy. So to do that, we had to introduce, as much as I hate to admit it, had to introduce spices and marinades to get through. Otherwise, it was just, it's bland. And I understand why people fall off the horse, because it's like same old, same old. You get tired. You need variety. There's a reason why you have 7 billion taste buds in your mouth, or whatever the astronomical number is. It's because they want to be used. And what better way than to use a good Chipotle or a good mesquite or something like that there to help you get through, so you stick with your weight loss journey.
Exactly, and that's what it comes down to, is sticking with your mentality. Everybody, there's one thing that a lot of people always forget when you're changing your life, is that your conviction will only hold for so long.
Right.
Then it becomes habit. You have to break through to making it a habit.
Yep.
Conviction is great, we can take this as far as, your own life in general, the world, how you want to work through things. But when the going gets tough and everything comes at you at 110%, there's only one thing you can fall back on, and this is something that a lot of bodybuilders, athletes, and people that are in high areas of CEO memberships and stuff like that, they will tell you it's not always about your determination, it's not always about your convictions. It's about getting up the same time every day, doing it the same time. That's one thing, even in school they taught you, you may have hated math, but you had to do it right the same every time, otherwise it never came out correct. Life is math, I hate to say it. Mental abuse to humans. We all know that.
Boo.
So when you come down to it, finding ways to push yourself and keep the habit is going to keep you through this. And that's what seasonings has done for us, is instead of using ranch and mayo and all that stuff, we're using spices and different types of seasonings to offset what we can eat. So that way, in the end, it doesn't taste bland. In the end, it doesn't taste like the same old, same old. Nobody can eat the same old every single day of the week and be happy. We all know that.
Right. You need something. And I've talked about routine. I've talked about habits. I've talked about all that, because it takes about 21 days for a routine to become a habit. And the worst thing is getting yourself out of the bad habits, which it's easy. It's wonderful to drive through. Your food's prepared, get home, eat. You don't have to worry about it. There's no cleanup. There's no nothing. But once you start breaking that, it takes about 3 weeks to break that habit. And, that routine, get it into the bad habit into a good habit, and then things will start getting easier. But like I said, the first 3-4 months was miserable. It was tough. It was really, really difficult. But I wouldn't give it up. I mean, I'm not going to change. I mean, I'm very, very happy with everything. And I'm happy with the progress that I've made.
You made a lot of good progress, Captain. You have.
Thank you. But it's still, every day we're always looking for something new. We're always trying to figure out different things, and it's a lot. But the benefits that you get out of it, I mean, like I've talked about before, those you pick up those 5-gallon water jugs at work that are on the dispenser, and you pick up one of those and replace it, and you just walk around, and typically those are about 42 pounds a piece. You pick that up and your joints instantly hurt, your back hurts, it's like, oh, what is this? And that's only 40, and I've lost over 200 pounds, so I've lost over 5 of those bottles off of my body, and it's incredible. So when you pick up just one, it's like, how did I do this? How was I making it from day to day? How was, it just, no wonder everything hurt so bad. So by doing all of this stuff and working it, and we bought, was it 4 months ago, we bought the Blackstone, the griddle. Ever since we've done that has changed the weight loss journey again. It's huge. keep everything outside, keep the mess out there. But we're learning how to cook. And granted, you know how to do it because you did that at your last job, so that helped the transition. But for anybody that's new out there that doesn't know how to use one, they're actually really simple. And it takes a little bit, in the beginning, so don't expect to be making perfect meals right out of the shotgun. But it didn't take long. A couple meals into it, and you had it pretty well figured out how using the thermometer was a huge thing. And so you knew exactly how warm the griddle was. And then you adjust as you go through it. It's incredible what that thing can do for us.
Yeah. And when you look at stuff like that from a standpoint of, oh, well, I hate the bacon smell in my house that sits there for days on end. We all hate that smell. I mean, we don't like the greasy smell in our house.
Right.
When you have a Blackstone and something you can cook outside with and it stays outside, man, hallelujah, let's sign up and roll with it.
Exactly.
Those are things that you look at. Those are the small wins you got to take.
Yeah.
You come in and you can do chimichangas. You can do breakfast burritos. They're a huge thing a lot of people do now. Doing meal preps on those where all you have to do is take a tortilla, low-carb tortilla, cook your eggs, cook your sausage, and cook your cheese into each other all as one big blob. Is the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
You put it as a big blob, roll it together, put it in tinfoil, throw it in the fridge. You can have 2 to 3 meals or more out of that, and that's your breakfast. So if you're pressed in the morning, throw it in, warm it up, run out the road. You can do stuff like that. It just depends on what you want to do, where your conviction lies. How much do you want to lose? How much do you want to feel? The thing that you can always do is go into any fitter outpost, like Shields or Cabela's, and go pick up something your weight. Just once, go try to pick something up like that. If you're 100 pounds, go find something that's 100 pounds. Pick up a dumbbell that's 100 pounds. You in an instant, you'll see that you're like, I have put my body through so much pain, and I am sorry.
Yeah.
And that is a huge thing. And then you're going to look at that going, okay, now we need to do something to change my body so it feels better, works better. I mean, you don't buy a Maserati and then put,
cheap gas
in it, yeah. I mean, if you buy a Tesla, that's all you, but I can't tell you how to live that one. But you look at stuff like that, you're going to want to put jet fuel into your body, but you're not going to want to blow your engine up. Your heart is your engine. So taking care of it, like eating fish, that takes care of your heart. Right. It takes care of a lot of your eyes. Those things, changing your diet a little bit, you're going to see the difference. You're going to see your life change. And once it starts, it's really hard to stop.
Yeah.
Because once you start feeling good, you're going to start changing other parts of your life before you even know. That could be friendships. That could be relationships. That could be how you even go to work. You might drive the long way to work. You might take the short route to work. You might walk to work if you're close enough. Hey, you never know. People are, we live in a different world.
Yep.
So doing stuff like that, well, it just helps the positive boost in this world that we have negative everywhere.
Right.
So having good meals to come home to when you can sit there, and I know you've done this a couple times. Oh man, smash burgers tonight. I wonder if we're gonna put salt, pepper, garlic. Are we gonna do this? We're gonna maybe we'll try this one. And before you know it, you're skipping out the door, and everybody's like, "Why is he so happy?" That's the point. You're like, "Oh yeah, let's go." Those are the wins that you need.
Right.
And the more you taste and the more you enjoy those seasonings, like we tell you today, it will help so much, and you won't crave the sugars as much. You won't crave the ranch and everything. You can still find sugar-free ranch. I haven't tried it yet, but you can still find it.
Right.
And like I said, like we've told, and Sean has told you multiple times over his series, moderation is key. Moderation. These spices give you such a win in the column that you don't even realize. Most people don't tap into them.
Right.
It's
almost like they need little capes and a little S on the front of them for like super.
Yeah, Superman, yeah. Super spices, stuff like that. Because, these things really do change up your palate. And it's like I went back and we started this deal. When you take a big steak, a big Texas cut T-bone, and you put ketchup or barbecue sauce on, how many times have you been down south? Or even your in-laws look at you going, did we go wrong somewhere raising you? Those are the things that, you have to look at going, okay, maybe I did mess up. But when you find a good steak or a good burger, you don't need those sauces because the flavor's already within the meat.
Right.
So that is a huge thing. It's within the vegetables. And learning how to do those will make your life so much easier, so much better, and you're going to feel so much better that when you go eat McDonald's after like 6 months, you're probably going to go, why did I spend $20 on this? This was dumb. Yep. And that's the thing a lot of Americans and people around the world today are figuring out. It's better to buy, the meats and make it at home, because one, you don't have as much of the bad calories as they're called, and you get to enjoy a little bit more. We've kind of, in a way, we've brought cooking back into the homes because everybody's learning to slow down.
Right.
So even us, we don't get a lot of time together, with us who work in our busy schedules, but even having a couple hours here and there, talking, watching Bob Ross, those make a big difference in this world.
Right.
So that's another, big emotional boost. So food has helped me in that way. I've made a lot of friends from cooking. I've made a lot of family members from cooking. So, to me, I have the same adaptation as my grandmother, Nobody's leaving my house hungry. And for some reason, everybody keeps coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't figure it out. It must be the food. But still, it sure is not the commentary for me.
Yeah. No, it's that's old school thinking. Is you always made up. If you have 4 people showing up, you made it up for 12 people.
Because you never know if they're bringing a friend or two, or
Correct.
kids.
Yeah.
Kids you never know when they're going to show up. They're
Yeah, exactly. And you don't. But for the most part, honestly, I wouldn't go back to the old way of eating like I used to. There's just no way that I could go backwards. With all the changes that I've done, it is basically who I am. Mm-hmm. And even when I get down to the weight that I'm shooting for, I'm still going to continue to eat this way because we've made the changes. We've adapted.
Yep.
And it does. It doesn't happen overnight. This isn't just something that you can just flip a switch and like I said, I jumped off a cliff in my weight loss, but I didn't have anything figured out. All the stuff that I talk about has been learned through, friends, family, trial and error, going through. Everything that I talk about, I've done.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm just reading something off of the internet and then just spouting it off word by word. I'm not doing that at all. This is all stuff that we've done. So,
Exactly.
we can say, okay, well, this didn't work or that worked, or, we can honestly say we've tried this. This is our results. Now, you may get a different result, how you do things, because you're going to do things differently. But this is how we've done it, mm-hmm. and hopefully you can adapt it a little bit to fit your lifestyle. Everybody likes different flavors. Everybody likes different foods. Everybody's got, your different nationalities. So, yeah. I wouldn't expect somebody that's over in Jamaica to eat the same way that we are.
No.
They have to adapt to, take the seasonings and take everything that they have there and modify it into their own weight loss journey. It's not just something where you can use everything like what we have. It's going to be on the Facebook page, so you'll be able to find it, but maybe there's something close to it that will make you think, maybe I should try that. Or, because I don't like anything spicy. I don't like hot stuff. So hopefully I know there's a lot of people like that, but then there's a lot of people like you that do like the warmer foods. And so hopefully between both, we can find a happy medium to say, okay, maybe try this one, see, and help keep you on your weight loss journey so you don't fall off and chuck the whole thing out the window, because that's the last thing I want to see is you get tired of things, and it's very easy at that point. Is when you get tired, it's like, oh, I don't want to eat this, or you open up the fridge door, and it's like, there's nothing good in there to eat.
Yep.
And it's really, really hard to stick on the weight loss journey when you're fighting that uphill battle. So hopefully there's something in this podcast today that will help anybody out there say, okay, well, try this maybe a little bit, or try this marinade, or maybe we brought a different perspective in something where it opened your mind a little bit, thinking, hey, I could do this. Maybe it'll kick off something in their head to help them move forward.
Well, and the big thing is for a lot of people, I'm assuming most of y'all live in the United States or somewhere close, but the world is a huge place, but we're all a melting pot of society anymore. Mm-hmm. There isn't just, the Midwest, which is bacon and eggs, and then down south, which is, taquitos and stuff like that. This world, there are so many different things you can try, sample, enjoy, feel, to a point where it almost feels like cooking isn't as hard as it used to be, because there's so many different people. It brings people together, because, you go to potlucks. Yeah, I know, I'm an introvert. I hate potlucks, but I still smile at them because there's food.
Yeah.
But you still go in and wonder, how did people make these things? What makes these things? How are they doing it? And you go and talk to these people. All of a sudden, there's another person that knows how to cook a recipe for you that you can change to your life that makes you feel better about eating. So, like TikTok, Instagram, all these things, there are things on the internet. If you wanted to learn how to make a risotto from, the Italian side of the world, go for it, or if you want to make a carbonara, Or if you want to make, different types of Mexican foods, like burritos, they're the size of your head. That's going to take 3 days to eat.
Our chimichangas are.
Oh, there you go. We got the chimichangas. I'm sorry, those things are huge.
Yeah.
But, Asian, you have a lot of different things. Like, a lot of people go, how do Asian peoples keep their figure? Go ask an Asian person. They'll tell you. And you'll find out rice and a lot of lean protein. That's just how they are, man.
Yep.
So those are things you can look at. You ask bodybuilders, what's the key to dieting? They're going to tell you they are very strict. They have dialed their body down so well. So they know exactly how to do it. My buddy Gavin, he knows exactly. He's dialed his body in. He wakes up, he knows what he's eating every single moment of his time, and he's dialed it. He's off maybe 5 calories a day, maybe if you're lucky.
Yeah,
so
he's incredible.
But the big thing is everybody goes to those guys and goes, "Oh, I want to do that. I want to have that body." Okay, do you want to have his body, or do you want to have a body that competes with his? That's the thing you have to think in your mind. That's where it comes back to research, because everybody's body is different. You're going to respond differently. You're just going to have to fight through the facts that, he's gotten a dietitian, he's gotten all these people, and plus he's gone to school for it, so he has a lot of knowledge. Most of us out here don't have that.
Right.
So instead of always dreaming, I want the body like Lou Ferrigno, or the body like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Those guys had to go through a lot of work to get to that level. You're not going to get that type of body without putting in the time.
Right.
So if you're looking to change your body to be healthier, change yourself the way that your body can operate first. Spices, lean meats, cutting out sugars, cutting out a lot of carbs. Think of that first and start that route. Once you get a handle on it, start feeling good, know how your body's running, then you can add in exercise. Then you can add in, do it in stages so your body isn't like, okay, we're too shocked you can't do this. Then your mental capacity dies.
Right.
So, and Sean has gone over this multiple times, and he preaches it, man. He knows, because he's been through this for the last couple of years. He has gone down this road that most people are going, why did I do this? Why did I give up that ice cream from Dairy Queen, But you see that too. He even had a moment when we were out there, we got Dairy Queen ice cream, and oh boy, there was a couple times he was like, I need an insulin pen.
Yeah.
But he used to be able to eat that like it was nothing. So those things, when you start realizing stuff like that, it's going to scare you, but it's going to excite you, because those are the moments you realize you've gone the right way.
Yeah.
You're going the right way. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the progress the way you need to. Don't always look at the scale, because fat and muscle are two completely different worlds. We can talk about that all day. Chris can talk to you about it all day. But the biggest thing in the end is focus on your body. Focus on yourself. Focus on what makes your body tick. If you can't figure that out, then you're not going to get anywhere in life. Right. Your body's going to fail you. So you need to take the time and see what spices work. See what meats work. What different ways of, what different nationalities can you cook out of. Those are the things you can look at. There are people that end up becoming vegetarians because they just can't handle meat in as massive quantities. Right. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't be shamed for that.
No, God, no.
Don't ever be shamed for something like that. If you want to eat tofu burgers, man, just go, man. Yeah.
Whatever it takes to get the weight off, and I've talked about that many, many times. Whatever it takes to get the weight off, that's what you do. Whatever you can stick with and make it a routine, build it into your life. That's what you do. That's how you're going to get to the finish line. And the way I'm doing it may not work for you, but you might be able to take something away from what I'm learning, my ups and my downs. Yep. You might be able to take something away from that to help you out to stay on your own weight loss journey. And that's the only reason I do this. And to be honest, I probably would have never done it if you wouldn't have said, why don't you start a podcast? And I was like, what's a podcast?
What's this whole new world?
I still have yet to ever listen to another podcast.
Yeah.
But I don't want their podcast to influence mine, so I haven't listened to any of them. But, folks are enjoying them, and that's why I try to find new folks to come on board and talk. And that's why I thought, something like this today will help them looking at food a little bit different.
Exactly.
How you prepare it, how you get it ready to. It's just there's so many possibilities out there that when you start working in marinades and spices, and it's helped me stick to my own journey. I mean, because it's different flavors, things are better. I mean, it does stink eating the same thing over and over and the bland stuff. And this gives you the opportunity to stick with it while keeping it adventurous, essentially.
You're always going on a new adventure every single day. You know, you're always going to have your main baselines of things, pork, chicken, whatever. You can always say you're going to have your baselines. Mm-hmm. But, you know, throwing in a little bit of this or that, you know, a little bit of garlic here, a little bit of ginger here, a little bit of teriyaki sauce here, gives you a reason to keep doing it, and then it becomes an addiction. That's why when I started cooking, it became an addiction for me, because I wanted to learn how to make all these better. That's just the way it came out.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm glad I'm able to help, you know, Sean over here go through all of this as well, because I started where he was. You know, I started going, what is this? What is ginger? Who does this? Why? At last I thought that was a redhead, but maybe I'm wrong. You know, there are things like that every day.
Yeah.
But, you know, switching out regular sea salt for pink Himalayan, that gives you a lot of different nutrients for your body and minerals. There's always millions of things you can do, but always listen to your body. Your body's going to tell you whether it's good or bad.
Oh, yeah.
So listen to it, and challenge yourself with different seasonings every day. You know, just add a different seasoning every week. So if you start out with just salt and pepper, add garlic. If that's something you like, keep eating it. It starts to go a little bit sideways, you're not liking it anymore, there's millions of seasonings out there, a million different varieties.
Yeah.
Try something different, you know. That's a huge thing today.
Yeah, we've got, before we started here, I started looking up some of the seasonings that have very little calories in them, and some just, I got a heck of a list here and stuff here, and they're all either 10 calories or less. Some are even just 1. You got chives, cilantro, mint, parsley, rosemary, capers, ginger, serrano pepper, and those are all 1 to 2 calories per either teaspoon or tablespoon. And just that little bit of flavoring will go an amazing long way. I mean, some of you like grape leaves, hot peppers, oregano, red wine vinegar, tarragon, thyme, vinegar, jalapeno. Oh, I'll stay away from that one. Lemongrass, black pepper, broth. I mean, the list is incredible, and there's almost no calories in any of these. Yeah. So, I mean, adding a tablespoon or 2, it doesn't really take much. So when you buy a seasoning, it goes a long way.
Yeah, you don't have to buy it for another year, really, unless you're using it a lot. But even then, you know, it's something you like then.
Right.
Like turmeric is a huge thing that people don't realize. Everybody's like, well, what's turmeric? It's the yellow spice that they don't realize it has a lot of probiotics and antibiotics in it that help your body replenish your own digestive system. So that is something you can look at really, really well too, is turmeric is a huge thing, and a lot of these spices have benefits outside just flavoring your food. So now that you're feeding your body with everything you physically can, you know, decently wise, and it's getting its minerals, it's getting its nutrients like we did back in the days of old, your body, you're going to realize you're going to fight off a lot more viruses, you're going to fight off a lot more, you know, fatigue even, you know, you're going to realize at work you have more energy to do things because you're like, well, usually I come back from work from eating BK and I don't feel good at all. Well, that's true. I mean, there's a lot of grease, there's a lot of salt, a lot of stuff, and a lot of things that hurt you. But when you eat the stuff that you prepare for yourself and it becomes an addiction, you realize running at such a high output where your body is actually truly running, it's huge. You want to go on hikes, you want to go do things with the family, and you all of a sudden turn a life around that you originally thought that you couldn't even do, you couldn't even start. And now today, I mean, we have technology today to motivate you, help you go through things. Our podcast is always going to be here to help you. So every chance you get, come on over. If you're feeling down, feeling sad, you need a little bit of a joke pick-me-up. I mean, his one-lining joke, dad jokes, man, sheesh. I just fast forward to those just to get a quick, here we go. And that's something that might just break your sadness.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I've done with food. Food used to be my big way out of a lot of depressing factors. Right. I mean, my life, you know, way as depressing it could be, food became my biggest outcome, not alcohol or drugs. So, well, I gained a few pounds, but
food's just as addictive as
anything else in this world.
It's tough to do, but if you guys do get a chance, share some of the seasonings that you guys use. Share some of the recipes that you do on my Facebook page. I'm going to take a bunch of pictures and I'm going to post them all to the Facebook page, and it'll be up there prior to this episode actually coming out, because this episode won't be out for a couple weeks yet. And I just want you to start seeing this is the stuff that we use and see if it's something that you can work into it. But I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what different you guys are doing. How are you preparing your food? Because it's something that we might want to try.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we're always looking for new ideas and everything. And I just want to hear from you guys. So, I mean, everybody can post to, my Facebook page. I mean, Sean's page is sitting there constantly. They're waiting to go. I keep updates on there for you. And make it a part of it. If you have a neat recipe, we have a great soup one that I stumbled across last year, and that thing, it's a chicken noodle soup, and it's only, I think it was only 75 calories or something like that there, and it was incredible. It had some of the best flavor I've ever had, and it was so simple. It took like 20 minutes to make. Boom, done. Literally from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Done. We were already having supper. It's so simple, and it kept all the calories down, and it wasn't loaded in carbs, wasn't anything, and I just want to get to fall so we can have it again.
Right, exactly. I'm sick of the 100-degree weather. I mean, there's a lot of people that love summer, but I'm sorry, I am not a fan.
No, me either. So, well, thank you very much, sir. We're going to end the podcast here at that point. Thanks so much for being on here, and no doubt about it, we're going to get you on here, and then we're going to get you on the Honorable Warrior one. He's actually one of the co-hosts of that one there. We just haven't had, like I said, I've got one episode out. I've got a second one ready to go, which will be coming out shortly. But there's going to be a total of 4 of us on the Honorable Warrior, but everybody's going to be swapping out, so there may be only me, or there may be just 1 or 2 others, but there's a total of 3 co-hosts plus me. We're hopefully going to get there. Hopefully I will be having Alex on a lot more of those shows. That's what we're working towards, but summer's been so crazy, we haven't been able to get times to sync up, so... But what all said, thank you so much for being in. I appreciate you, being on the show. Can't wait to get you back on the show again there. And for any hints and stuff there, we'll keep them on the Facebook page for everybody. But when all said and done, you got this. I believe in all of you guys out there. I think there's no doubt in my mind you're going to cross that finish line and you're going to be happy. I'm heading that way. I can see the finish line. It's within my grasp. I figure I've got about another year and I'll be about where I want to be at. So I'm getting really close, so there's no doubt that you guys, you're close as well. So any hints you got on seasonings or foods that you're eating, put them on my Facebook page. If you have questions for either Alex or I, or if you have exercise questions for Chris, doesn't matter, or if you have weight loss questions there for Rebecca, you're more than welcome to use my email address of seangmorris@gmail.com. Send us the questions there. We'll get them answered as fast as we can. As soon as they roll in, I typically try to watch them. There's about 3 of us that watch the email page coming in and stuff, so we get on it right away. But share, like, hit, subscribe to my YouTube page. That would really go a long ways there to helping us out. I want to try to help as many people as I can. And the more people that subscribe and like it, then we move up in the algorithms. It's get easier to find, and that's just going to help everybody else out. So, even though I had my son on the show here, you guys aren't going to get away without the dad joke of the day. And he got to cheat. He got to see what this one is, and he threw his papers across the room when he read this one.
It doesn't help, trust me. It does not help the fact that I know this is coming up.
This is a good one. I scurried for this one here because I wanted a real good one to close out the show with on today. So if you're ready to go, here's the dad joke of the day. Do you know what kind of coffee a vampire drinks? Decaffeinated.
No, just no.
I love that one. Thanks so much for tuning in. You guys are amazing. Always going to be here for you. If you have any questions, let us know. And as always, all my love and support, Sean.